Hello, welcome. My name is Bryce Tubbs. With me today is Dr. Catherine Mutti-Driscoll. Her professional mission is to advocate for and support the needs of neurodiverse individuals. I'm extremely excited to be able to share her story with you guys today, and super excited to see how this conversation unfolds and to learn something new. I really appreciate you coming on the show, Dr. Catherine.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. So, everybody has like a story of why they do what they do. So, what was life like before you got into this field, and what was the catalyst that got you here?
That's a great question. Thank you. I would say that in a lot of ways, it was me finding out about my ADHD diagnosis when I was 37, which was 2 years ago in 2018. That really caused me to look at the work I was doing and ask myself if I was using all my strengths. And since having the knowledge of that diagnosis really opened up some new self-awareness. And so with that, I was able to do some self-analysis and look at what I really like to do. And I thought that coaching would be a really great fit for me, since I've always had a really great strength for problem solving and listening and empathizing with others. So I thought that coaching would really bring that out.
Cool. So what are the problems, or what are people trying to either achieve when they start coming to work with you?
Well, frequently people with ADHD have a lot of great ideas and a lot of great creativity, but due to some of the executive function challenges that they have, which are brain-based, it can be difficult to get started, to remember what you're interested in pursuing, to keep going, to break down a big task. And so a lot of times it can be really helpful to have that external accountability, someone who is helping you become more self-aware of what you want and what's important to you and your strengths, and then how you can maximize those in moving towards your goals. And I think for many of us with ADHD, that outside accountability is just really imperative to making progress.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask you, so everybody, or not everybody, but a lot of people always think of, what they can't do when it comes to ADHD. What are some unique abilities that it actually gives you? Because I'm sure it gives it a lot of strengths.
Yeah, well, I think in a lot of ways, I think that some strengths that people have are really related to creativity, and I think being sensitive can be a strength, or a challenge. I think energy is definitely something that folks with ADHD have, especially when they're in their passion area, and when they're doing something they're really interested in, then they can perform exceptionally well. And hyperfocus, you've probably heard that term before. And I think also just a lot of folks with ADHD are really intelligent too. Sometimes some of their challenges make it hard for that to show, but I'd say a lot of folks with ADHD have a gift, have some strengths that are really impressive.
Can you explain, well, because people have probably heard the term hyperfocus, but can you explain what it's like to get into hyperfocus?
Well, I think in a lot of ways it's similar to the concept of flow, where you're really focused and the whole world kind of recedes, and you're just really in the moment. And I personally experience that when I'm coaching, because I find other people so fascinating that I really feel like I'm in the moment, and all my kids and all my other worries just go away, and I'm really just with that person. And it's a really wonderful feeling.
Mm. Can I ask you a question? So just kind of changing gears and kind of switching gears is what is either the vision for your life or for this year or whatever time frame you want? What's the vision?
Yeah, well, since I started my own business last September, it's really I'm really pretty new, so I'm learning a lot, and in some ways have had like a shorter time frame in mind. But I think that in a lot of ways, my goal is really to grow my business into a community of supports for people with ADHD. So I could envision, in addition to coaching, which is what I've focused on a lot for right now, I would also be interested in offering a lot of groups for people, and I'm sort of envisioning this online, especially now with the pandemic. But accountability groups where you could come and you could share what tasks you wanted to work on in a period of time, and then you could reflect on how it went. Since for a lot of people with ADHD, that accountability is really helpful to getting things done. And I'd love to have women's groups and maybe also some groups where you're more gathering together to do creative things like journaling or crafting. Just lots of ways for people to socialize and feel supported, and also gain in that self-discovery, which I think is really important for people to live their best lives.
Okay. That sounds really cool. It's always fun when you can build communities and really connect people. You know, that's interesting because community is more important now than ever. So, what are some actually we can do both. What are some things that you've been doing and implementing in order to stay sane during these times? And then we can talk about how we can do that with communities.
Yeah, well, I think interestingly in this time, I feel like because all of a sudden my kids were home all the time, it sort of led me to realize that I had been working so hard on this business in September that I was sort of burning out a little bit. And in some ways, I think the pandemic gave me permission to take a little bit of a break, because I think I was just, in
Uh,
some ways, it was my hyper focus, obsessive side coming out. I really wanted the business to work, so I just wasn't taking days off and things like that. And so I think in some ways, I realized I just needed a break. My kids were home. I had to kind of refigure out what was going to happen. And the interesting thing that happened was when I took a break, I actually found my motivation coming back for the business, and
mhm.
I started doing more things that just seemed like a lot of fun. For example, I have a women's ADHD meetup group that I'm doing, and together we're going through this. It's a radical guide written by some prominent researchers and writers for women, and so I've been offering that once a month. We did the first one. It was well attended and it's getting some attention. I actually had some international folks who were
Oh,
wanting to
wow.
hop in on the second one. So I'm excited to be doing that. And I'm also hoping to launch a Facebook group for moms to have a place where they could gather resources and support. So those are a few of the things that I'm enjoying experimenting with during this time.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. That's much needed during this time. You know, can you give maybe one tip to someone who might be feeling like a little bit burned out or approaching burnout, just from being around the kids all the time, they're just not used to it. Now they have to work from home at the same time. Can you give us like some kind of tips to unplug?
Yeah, well, I think in a lot of ways, I think it's really important to have extra acceptance and compassion for yourself right now, and realize that this isn't a typical time. So I know some of us can put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be this awesome parent and
Yeah.
limit the screens and be homeschooling and doing all of these things. But I think trying to realize that it's very important that you matter too. So whatever it is, even if it means a little extra screen time, whatever it is for you that keeps you going and fills your bucket, as they say, I think is really important. Like for me, I've been trying to work on having a habit of a hobby. So reading chick lit books is what I like to do.
Mhm.
So I think just whatever it is that would help. I think I want to give you permission to do that and fill up your bucket, and the kids will be fine, and we'll all be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question. So, are you working on any special projects, either like a program, book, seminar, anything going on right now, or?
Yeah, well, I actually am interested in trying to write a book, and it's a project that I've been thinking about for a while. And similar to some of my clients, I've also been trying to figure out how do I scope the project
Mhm.
and break it down and keep myself going. So for now, I've been taking this course that I found online about how to write a memoir, and it kind of breaks it down into 8 lessons. So I'm hoping that will get me launched into the habit of writing, and also help me understand what is the scope of this project and how can I think about the timeline and breaking it down so it's manageable.
Nice. How can people go to learn more, or what? Yeah. How can people learn more about you, and where can they go to connect with you?
Well, I think a great place to start is my website, and my business name is not very creative, but it's easy to remember. So it's Seattle ADHD Coaching, and you don't have to be in Seattle to connect with me. More and more, everything I do is online anyhow.
Mhm.
And so the web address is just www.seattleadhdcoaching.com, or you can write to Catherine at seattleadhdcoaching.com. And I'd love to connect with people if they have any questions about ADHD or coaching. I'd love to get the conversation started.
Excellent. Nice. I really appreciate your time, and it was really fun being able to kind of sit and have a quick chat with you.
Yeah, well, thank you for your time. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, it was fun to like talk about like hyperfocus, because I mean it's almost like a buzzword, but no one really, I don't know too many people has actually experienced it. So to be able to have kind of your experience and you telling us what it's like firsthand is like really, really helpful.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you asking the question, since a lot of times we do throw these terms around and don't always unpack, well, what does that mean? Or what is the experience like?
Mhm. Excellent. And for those of you watching, we really appreciate your time. If you would like to join a community where people are improving themselves every day and helping others to do the same, I recommend you go and join our community. It's going to be either a link above or below the video. Basically, what it is a mastermind and a community of people who are coming together to support each other and uplift each other every single day. Because you are the average of the 5 people that you spend your time around. So we just have 30 to 50 people to help you out. So if that is what you are looking for, go ahead and connect with us by clicking the link below, either above or below the video. Cannot wait to see you inside the community. Also, hopefully you enjoyed watching this video as much as we enjoyed creating it. Feel free to hit that share button so other people can get some benefit as well. Have a great day, guys. Talk to you soon, and we will see you in the next one. Talk to you later. Done recording.